Learning American history will become a graduation requirement. Surprised that it wasn't already? You're not alone. State Representative Solomon Goldstein Rose and State Senator Eric Lesser were co-sponsors of a recently passed civics law, and they joined me in the studio to discuss.
It was the most deliberative but proactive process I've seen. We formed internal consensus among the working group members, figuring out all of us had different pieces. Senator Lesser got in a key media literacy piece. I put in a piece on school committees doing outreach to students. And we formed text that we could all agree on, and we shopped it around internally to DESE, to
That's the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, for those playing at home.
Thank you. And to some of the stakeholder groups that do advocacy on civics, and worked a lot with the education committee chairs, made sure that there was agreement on this was something we could go forward with, and then started publicly promoting it and getting more attention to it and working with the House and Senate leadership to bring it to a vote. So it was something really led by legislators that was proactive and taking advantage of this moment where there was a little more attention on civics and we could do something useful for our schools. And yet it was very careful and made sure that it was all-inclusive.
The House took its look, the Senate took its look, and then it went to Governor Baker, and he actually tossed it back at the end of the formal session in July for a slight amendment. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so there was some back and forth about whether or not the instruction would be nonpartisan. Everyone agrees that, of course, the instruction needs to be nonpartisan, so there was some technical changes that had to be made to the language to get that made explicit in the bill. That was actually done in an informal session, so not a single member of the 200-person legislature voiced an objection to that. We were able to get it done and signed by the governor last week and in time for the next coming school year. But to just back up, Carrie, I actually think this is among the most important things the legislature and the governor have done this entire session. The foundational building block of our democracy is the role of citizen. And quite frankly, our schools have not emphasized that enough in recent years. And there's a lot of reasons for that.
Do you think that MCAS plays a big part in that?
I do think that the MCAS plays a role in that. I think that the kind of continued over-reliance on testing, the crowding out of subjects like social studies and history and civics, and the emphasis on STEM fields is important, but something that we do need to acknowledge is, what are the basic things we need people learning in our public school systems? Going back to Horace Mann, the public schools in Massachusetts were about empowering people to be active citizens and to hold people like us accountable. You can't do that unless you know how to vote, where to vote, how a bill becomes a law, how our system of checks and balances works. And I would actually argue that a lot of the poison in our politics right now, a lot of the dysfunction in our politics right now is that people don't feel empowered. They don't know how to get empowered to make a difference in their democracy and civics.
You need to know the rules if you're going to do that.
A key piece is that civics is inherently participatory. Understanding government systems requires being
involved. Have to do this project at the end of the year, right?
The piece that was the key difference between the bill and the work DESE is already doing to incorporate civics into 8th grade was the requirement of project-based learning. It has to be hands-on. I got to be involved at the level of running for state rep because I had teachers that happened to encourage me to get involved in advocacy projects, to connect with my state legislators and learn those systems. But there was never a class when I was going through school that taught us that in any formal setting. There was never a school-wide requirement that we be offered the chance to do these kinds of projects. And so having that standardized across the whole state will really guarantee that next generation of engaged citizens.
In the media literacy piece that I know that you had a heavy hand in, talk about that a little bit, and I think it really speaks to the nature of what's going on in the world today and incorporating that into education.
This is so important. Not since probably the invention of the printing press has information or the flow of information changed as rapidly as it has in the last several years. And citizens need to be equipped to know what is fact, what is fiction, what is opinion, and what is fact, what is analysis and what isn't, and to be able to look with a level of detachment at different sources and understand and analyze the information that they're getting. this is not a partisan issue. There's issues on both sides, on the left and the right, around misuse of information, around fake news, all these different things. What we need to do, though, is to empower young people, especially, really all people, but especially young people, to make sense of the information they're getting and to make their own decisions. And that's what this is really about. That's why media literacy is really an essential part of this, and updating our school curriculums to reflect the fact that for the most part, vast majority of young people are getting their information about politics from their iPhones or from their smartphones, and we need to equip people to understand social media, to understand the difference between a newspaper article and someone's opinion on Facebook, to be able to look with some level of detachment and analysis at the information that they're being presented, and then to reach their own conclusions.
And exactly, to take all of that information into account, because it certainly is valid. And when you look at discourse in the political environment overall. Representative, you hinted at this, but something that you were a proponent of was this concept of encouraging the school committee to get information from students.
Yeah.
How will that process work as part of this law?
So the law basically encourages school committees to designate one of their members as a student outreach officer. And that person would be the point person for getting input from students on general issues or on whatever they're specifically considering. And this is something I noticed when I was on the school committee in Amherst when I was in 12th grade. And so I had this direct connection to this student body, and I could stand up in orchestra class and ask, hey, what do you think about this thing we're about to vote on? And I got a clear answer. A lot of school committee members, many school committee members do try to be proactive and have times for students to give input or parents to give input.
Or even have a student member on the school committee.
A lot of school committees have that. A lot don't, even though they're all supposed to, and it's hard to organize that. So part of the responsibilities of this person would be to ensure that that actually happens. And often it's helpful to have one person in charge of something. School committees have varying numbers of members. Our regional one in my town is 9 people, and for all of them to be jointly in their volunteer capacity trying to figure out how to organize systems to gather student input, it's helpful sometimes to have a point person who knows that they are responsible for making that happen, and for students and parents and teachers to know who's the person that is the one to reach out to, who's going to be more active on gathering that kind of input.
We have about a minute left. I want to have us talk about 2 things quickly. There's a component that has the Secretary of State establishing a nonpartisan voter challenge program. What will that look like?
Very simple. It's to incentivize voter registration and to make creative ways to get students, young people motivated to register to vote. That's where it starts. You have to register to vote, and then from there we can build on participation.
And perhaps we're already seeing this. We had a record voter turnout in these midterm elections across the board, and we even had students on the show talking about their get out the vote components.
And we have pre-registration now. Many high schoolers can pre-register to be ready to vote in the first election they'll be eligible for, and we can push that much further.
And it does need to go along with a more comprehensive strategy around automatic voter registration, which just passed in Massachusetts this past year, but we also need to do a lot more around ballot access issues and voter access issues, so it all goes together.
Last issue, just quickly, when we talked last time, 2022 was the target for the graduating class. Is that still, are we still on track for that at this point?
Every indication is yes. Yeah, I mean, DESE was already doing the prep work before the ink was dry on the bill, so our expectation is that the 2022 target will be met.